right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Talent Show, where you will meet the people that power TTEC. I'm Rebecca, and I will be your host for today's show. We are so glad that you are all here joining us because we're having a pre-party. That's right, it is almost International Women's Day. And so, as the famous tennis player Serena Williams once said, the success of every woman should be an inspiration to another. We should raise each other up. And that's what our guests are here to do today, to lift each of us up as they have done through their own careers and continue to do through our employee resource group, Women in Leadership. So our guests are here today from around the globe, from roles in legal to operations to talent acquisition and IT. And I know that as you hear their stories and are inspired by how they're inspiring inclusion, that you'll all walk away with some really great inspiration for your own careers. But first, we want to meet you. So please do feel free to drop in the chat where you're joining us from today, because we love a global celebration as we're coming upon International Women's Day, and we love to meet you from around the world. So please do feel free to drop where you're joining us from today. And thank you once again for sharing your time with us, because we know there's many ways that you can be using your time. And so thank you so much for dropping by the Talent Show. So we have an action-packed show for you today. As I mentioned, we have 4 guests, and our guests are joining us from India, the United States, and Canada, and have so many amazing things that they'll share with us today about their journey, about their personal whys. Why are they doing what they're doing? And giving us some nuggets along the way of how each of us can also spark that inclusive belonging and feeling at our companies. So let's meet them. Without further ado, we're going to bring on Jennifer. She is our co-chair for our employee resource group, Women in Leadership, and also in IT. She'll share more about her story. Krutika, she is joining us from Hyderabad, India, and has recently joined us in our legal team there in Counsel. She'll share more about her journey as well. We also have Nakia, who is in the United States. She is helping us recruit amazing people to join our awesome Great Place to Work. And then we have Niki in operations, director of operations in Canada. And all of these ladies, thank you both, all of you so much for putting aside time, for volunteering for Women in Leadership, for volunteering to come join this panel. We appreciate you all. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Hi, yes. We have such an amazing team around the world, and the 4 of you are just some exemplary examples of the team members that we have. Before we get into all of our questions, because we could go into a talent show with each of you on your own. So we've got a lot ahead of us to unpack your stories. But before we do that, each of you can share your stories better than I can in that intro. So Nakia, will you just tell us a little bit about who you are, your story, and then we'll kick it over to the rest of the team.
Okay, thank you so much for having me today. My name is Nakia Eggerson. I am a senior supervisor within TTEC's Talent Acquisition Department. I and my team handle recruiting for several clients under the public sector umbrella. I've been with TTEC since 2019. I started as a recruiter and unexpectedly worked my way up the ladder, and I'm super excited to be here, and I love what I do.
Well, you can see it. It's written all over your face.
Thank you.
So that's great. Thank you so much. How about Krutika? Let's cruise over to you.
Thank you, Rebecca. I'm happy to be here on this panel with such a group of incredible women. So I'm a lawyer and I support the digital practice at TTEC. I'm based out of Hyderabad, and I joined the company last year. And it's been an incredible journey so far, and I'm looking forward to how the rest of it shapes up.
Welcome to TTEC. I know it's been a little bit, but welcome. We're glad that you're here. And Niki, let's head over to you in Canada.
All right. Thanks, Rebecca, and thanks for having me today as well. My name is Niki Palmer. I'm actually a Director of Operations. I'm located in Ontario, Canada. I've been with TTEC for about 11 years, and I really have to say that I love the opportunities that TTEC gives us every day and the team that I get to work with on a day in, day out. Thank you.
And Niki, this is your second time on the talent show, so welcome back. We're glad that you are here. And that kicks us over to you, Jennifer. Share a little bit more about your story with us.
So I've been at TTEC since 2015. That's 9 years. I've been in technology the whole time, but I started off as site IT, and then I've worked my way up to being a technical strategy senior analyst with our IT process improvement team. I really love being at TTEC, and I love the way that we're included and feel warm, especially in IT.
That's great. And I love that we have IT represented, legal, operations, talent acquisition. Thank you all so much. And we're going to learn more about each of your stories. So let's dive in, Jennifer, a little bit more into women in leadership. It's our employee resource group here at TTEC. I know it's been an instrumental part of my journey here of feeling welcomed, like I'm part of the team and that I belong. And I know you along the way have been instrumental in supporting that too. And now in this co-chair role with Kane, we love that too. So could you share a little bit more about what that's meant to your journey being a part of a group like Women in Leadership?
I've never had a employee resource group at any other company I've ever worked at, especially one driven towards women. I've been participating in Women in Leadership as long as I can remember for TTEC, just going to their webinars. And in those webinars, they teach us a lot. They teach us about great leadership, imposter syndrome, just different learning opportunities. I'm sorry. And I'm greatly learning from my peers every day. And especially with the mentorship that I get through TTEC, they have a great mentorship program. So Kane is also my mentor, but I recently stepped up to be a co-chair with her. And TTEC's Women in Leadership has taught me so much. It's been a huge part of my journey here at TTEC. I've learned a lot about leadership, allyship, and many other topics. It's helped me become a better leader. So this employee resource group is very close to my heart, but we're always looking for volunteers here at TTEC to join and to support our employee resources groups, especially Women in Leadership, which also supports like a book club. And we also support Toastmasters, which is a place to help you learn to speak better and do better speeches. So which I'm involved in with Niki. So we're truly a global company. We meet together in different, in different chances. We have different chances to meet people across the world.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think that's what's cool. And I know, Niki, I believe you mentioned this before too, when we were doing our meet and greet, is that there's a tie and a connection to most of us here on this call. We've worked together in some way, even though we have over 60,000 employees. It really does make it a small world after all, if you will. And thank you, Jennifer, for that. And Kane, shout out to Kane and Nat Gooch and Morgan Murphy for bringing those programs, like you said, to life. Absolutely. And I know Nakia is going to talk about that too. Niki, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I was just going to say, exactly reinforcing that message, Rebecca. I think it's exactly like Jen said. It's one of those organizations within our team that brings us together.
That's great. So let's cruise over back to India. And Krutika, you're newer to the team, and yet you're already coming in and inspiring inclusion for helping you to grow your own career, and then also supporting the women and the allies in your site in Hyderabad. So could you share with us a little bit more about what are you doing for yourself, and what are you doing to support the community members around you?
No, thanks for that. That's a loaded question, but I'm going to do my best to answer that. So I'll start with the second part of it. What am I doing for my colleagues at the Hyderabad location? So interestingly, it's the first time that the Hyderabad location has an ERG which is dedicated to empowering women. So just to start off and to get the right notes at the beginning, lay the foundation so that the women here feel a sense of community. The office has been operational since 2019 and it's 2024. And we've had a lot of, female colleagues with us over the years. So for the first time, they all get to rally around a group or, get together for an event. So that inspires inclusion. It gives them a space where they can talk, bond, get to know each other without discussing work. So it could be anything, and it's very heartwarming to see that. Because a lot of times you'll never realize, oh, that quiet girl in the office, she's actually really funny. um, you know or maybe there's something that I can learn from another person's experience. So just bringing everyone to that platform really inspires inclusion. So I think that's been very rewarding to see in the few months that we've been running the group at Hyderabad. Personally, for myself, how it's helped is to just be inspired by all the other women in the women in leadership community, just to hear your stories and watch you achieve great things in your personal and professional space. Whether it's dealing with the imposter syndrome that a lot of us face, or just saying no without feeling guilty and setting your boundaries, things like that. I think that's been really inspiring to hear from my colleagues in the Women in Leadership group, and pay it forward. That's another thing, because I've seen that happen. And that's the one thing I try to tell everyone else as well, that I just, in the hopes of, since we mentioned India, I think it's a good idea to mention karma, the concept of karma. So just pay it forward. It'll come back to you.
Yeah, I think that's great about what all of you are doing, is paying it forward, really, within TTEC, within for future generations. And I do just want to comment on that piece of slowing down a little bit and getting to know each other as humans. Our business here at TTEC is to deliver humanity to business, and that starts with each of us recognizing each other as people, as maybe the quiet yet really hilarious girl in the corner, like you said. So that's great that you're creating those moments where people can feel safe and have that opportunity too. Oh, Jordan Hill is saying, shout out to women being an inspiration to your platform and business. Thank you, Jordan. Allyship is so important, I hear too. So thank you for jumping in and sharing that. We do want to kick it over to the audience as well for sharing a little bit more, as Serena Williams said, lifting each other up and raising each other up. So this is our time to talk about the women, whether they're back in the day or their colleagues and coworkers today, but to tag them and say, thank you for lifting me up and raising me up as well. We think it's a fantastic opportunity this month, again, as we're going into celebrating International Women's Day, to give that shout out. And as our audience is giving a shout out to our panelists, if you want to give a shout out to somebody, please do feel free along the way as well. I know, as Jennifer mentioned, Kane is just one of them. She very much welcomed me to TTEC, showed me some of the ropes, and we can always turn to her for support as well. So if anybody else wants to jump in on that, otherwise we'll go over to you, Nakia.
Hi, Well, I'll shout out my manager, Laura Folger, because she is an integral part of my story. So, hey, Laura, thank you.
I had the opportunity to meet Laura at our Magic Maker event last year, where I was a host, not a Magic Maker, but it was fantastic to spend time with her. So yeah, shout out to you, Laura.
Yes, she's awesome.
All right. Well, Nakia, Jennifer, were you going to share someone?
I was just going to share one of my previous managers, Carla Neighbors. She was a big help in getting me to grow as an IT person in one of the roles I had. So, hi, Carla.
Perfect. That's great to have a female mentor in IT too. That's really important as well. So thanks. Hi, Carla. Thanks for Jennifer. So Nakia, I think your story is really one, we've talked about mentorship. We've talked about creating those spaces where you feel comfortable to share things. And I think one of the things that is also important is being in a culture where you can share your dreams, you can share where you want to go and have that actioned on too. And yet at times it's on us to get out of our comfort zone, right? So we can get to that point. So could you share a little bit more with us the importance of getting outside your comfort zone and some of the ways you've done that recently?
Sure. So I recently became stagnant in my role. It's one of those things where I've been in TA since I've been at TTEC. It'll be 5 years next month. So crazy to believe. And so I mentioned that to my manager that, I've become stagnant in my role. It's time for me to do something else, something more, but I didn't really know what that something else or something more was. I do wear many hats in my life, and one of the biggest hats, the most important hat, is being a mom. I'm a single mom to a fantastic daughter. She is 18 years old, a senior in high school, captain of her dance team. She does competitive dance outside of school. And whatever my next step was in my career, I wanted to make sure that it still allowed the room for me to be a mom, number one. And so I didn't really think that I wanted to be a manager, because I felt like that was going to take more time and maybe sometimes time during hours outside of my regular 9 to 5:30. And so when I mentioned that to my manager, she gave me some specific people to reach out to see how I can help them so that I can venture out in the TTEC world and see the different opportunities that are available and kind of figure out what I want my next step to be. And so I kind of took that and ran with it and joined Women in Leadership. And in joining Women in Leadership, I decided to just jump in full force and join one of the subcommittees. I'm on the programs committee with Morgan Murphy. And we put on programs every quarter. And the first quarter was a webinar about mentorship. And I decided that the best way to make the most out of that experience and fully experience what else there is to offer is to just jump in. And normally I'm nervous to do things like that, but Laura, not only is she my manager, but she's also my mentor, and I respect her. I look up to her. I always want to make her proud. So it was one of those things that I can't just halfway do this. I've got to go in full force. So I just decided to step out of my comfort zone and volunteer to help with the very first webinar for the quarter, so that when it came time to for Morgan to get chairs for the other webinars, then I would already know kind of what to do and not be scared. And I can raise my hand and volunteer and say, hey, I can do this for you. And so I jumped in full force. Morgan said that even for this talent show, you needed volunteers. I didn't really know exactly what it was. And so I was like, I kind of halfway raised my hand to volunteer. And then when I find out more information about it, then I can either put the hand down or raise it all the way up. And we had the first meeting about this, and I thought, oh, this is something that I definitely can do. And I will absolutely say that just jumping in and stepping out of my comfort zone just in a couple of months' time, because I mean, this is very brand new to me. Like, I've just been doing this since January, but it has already helped me kind of see what else there is out there and kind of which direction I want to go in next in my career and still be able to be mom number one.
I love it. That's so fantastic. I can see all the other ladies are like, yes, yes. And just so everybody knows, the talent show is not about juggling, singing. There's no American Idol here. It is simply each person on this show, their talent is all the amazing things that they're doing here at TTEC. So the fact, Nakia, that you jumped right into the webinar and jumped right into the talent show without really knowing what it was is really helpful for all of us to know, like, you might be a little nervous, you might be afraid, but there's supportive people and amazing opportunities at the other end of it. So fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And Niki, two-timer on the talent show. We're glad that you're back. I know the last time we talked with you, you were really passionate about ensuring that you're nurturing and fostering a community where everybody belongs. And you're in a remote world too. So I think that makes it a little more challenging than if you could be side by side with people in an office. So could you share more with us about why is that important to you? Like, what's your why, and what are some of the ways that you're doing it?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for that question, Rebecca. I think that it's a great point that, you know, like we've had a lot of changes in our world as we knew it a few years ago. So I think for me, it's so important that we all do our part in inspiring inclusion, is because we really need to make sure that everyone has a safe space where they feel like they are welcome, they can be involved, and they have a community, so to speak, that they can actually count on. And I think it's really amazing how inspiring inclusion actually fosters like relationships with others. And I think like this was a display of this, everyone that's on the call, because we've interacted at some point with one another. But that relationship is so important to be able to take part of that and, you know, take part in open communication within an organization, no matter the size, like you brought up the size of TTEC, or where we're physically located, which again is a demonstration of this call. And I just want to highlight, like Rebecca, as you and Jennifer mentioned, Will, at the beginning of the call, so our Women in Leadership community, I think it's a great example of really showing that no matter where our team members are across the globe, that we welcome members to contribute to the Women in Leadership groups and share unique perspectives, no matter their location, their gender, their role. So even though it's called Women in Leadership, it's really open to everyone to take part. And then Jennifer also mentioned earlier about our Toastmasters community, which I think just for everyone out there, it's an amazing community and something I've been so happy to be part of. I've been in that group for over a year now. And for me, this is a space that we could really feel like vulnerable in, because we share a lot of personal stories and speeches there. And, you know, we talk about the, you know, our ums and our ahs and how we're speaking there, you know, but in that group, you are so welcomed and you're supported with positivity. And I'm going to steal a quote from earlier too, where you leave the call feeling like lifted up and just empowered to kind of go on about your day. So that's kind of my input about inclusion. Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, no, thank you, Niki. And thanks also for sharing a little bit more about Toastmasters, between Women in Leadership, having the book club, the programs, the chat active on Mosaic, the opportunity to do Toastmasters. It's really helping, as Nakia was just sharing, get a little outside your comfort zone, but in a safe and supportive way too.
Yes. Yes.
Just want to go over to the comments for a minute. DJ is giving a shout out to all the women leaders. You're all amazing and inspiring, including Vanessa Garcia. Thank you for your leadership and guidance. He also goes on to say, congratulations, Nakia, wishing you more growth and career success as well. And then we also have Amira saying, congratulations, Nakia, you are an inspiration. I think you have some of your talent attraction marketing team supporting you.
Yes, thank you guys so much. I work with them very closely.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Okay, great. So everyone, we're coming near the end where we're going to have a lightning round, but I know there's one more question, and it's something probably on a lot of different people's minds that are either moms, dads, caretakers. How do you balance it all? And Nakia, you were mentioning earlier the importance of being in a company like TTEC where you can prioritize being a mom. So could you give us just one little last shout out about that importance of being a mom and feeling supported?
Sure. So TTEC creates a culture of positive work-life balance. And part of that is the leadership with TTEC. They recognize that I am a mom, I'm human, and sometimes life happens. Just a little quick story. A few weeks ago, my daughter was in a car accident. And it was a very, very big deal because she's never been in a car accident before. And we actually lost her dad 10 years ago this month in a car accident. And so that was kind of fresh for her because that 10-year anniversary is coming up and she was freaking out. And I pinged Laura and I was like, I have to go. My kid was in a car accident and I left. I didn't wait for her to say, okay, go, like giving me permission. But TTEC created that culture and Laura has created that culture that I knew that it was going to be okay. And it's very comforting and reassuring to know that, you know, we have that leeway here without there being any negative repercussions. There are some employers that don't really provide that. And as moms, we really have the weight of the world on our shoulders. And sometimes we worry about taking time off of work, like, oh my gosh, am I going to get written up or am I going to get fired because I'm taking too much time off of work? And TTEC doesn't make me feel like that at all. I know that I have the room to leave when I need to. They know that I'm not going to just leave without it actually being a legit reason. They care about me. They check in on me. And so they make it even easier to be a working mom and have a career.
Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that story. Really appreciated getting that vulnerable. And I hope your daughter is feeling better now. That is definitely scary.
She's doing much better. Thank you.
Anyone else want to say anything on that note either? Or should we head right to our lightning round? Finish up our party. All right. Okay. We're going to head over to our lightning round of questions. If you want to respond, feel free to jump in. Our first round of questions is, what music, what jam inspires you? What's your favorite jam?
I'll go first. I don't want to make this the Nakia show, but I'll go first. I listen to lots of different types of music, and there's so many different things that inspire me. But I think one that inspires me the most is Titanium, especially the chorus, "You shoot me down, but I won't fall. I am titanium." And it just kind of motivates me and lets me know that no matter what happens, I can survive it all and I can get back up and be even greater than before.
I love it. Thank you. Niki.
Yeah, that's a great one, Nakia. I think that we need to start our own playlist on this group. But I like the song, actually. I like Nakia. There's a lot of things that really, I think, are important to me. But one of the songs that kind of sticks out that would say kind of inspires me would be Rise Up by Andrea Day, which I think, like, it's just like, it's empowering, right? Like, it's like, you can do anything. You're like, no matter what, like, it's like, keep going and, you know, keep persevering. I think it's like just an important message out of that.
You said that, Niki, and I just kind of automatically like rising up. Got a little stronger in posture. Thank you so much. Anyone else with their favorite song? All right. I think the other two ladies are waiting for advice to your younger self.
So the advice I would give my younger self is to be less hard on myself, to accept that I'm going to make mistakes, that mistakes are what shape you. And being in IT and being a woman, it is challenging. I do have very great managers that are male, and they've been inspiring to me. So, I mean, I need to get out of my mind and listen to those around me and be strong in what I do and be confident.
Love it. I think that's something all of us could benefit from right now too. Krutika?
So I just wanted to add to that. The one thing I'll tell my younger self is that don't believe all this people tell you about there being a shelf life. There's no such thing that you're supposed to hit these marks by so and so time, or that you're supposed to accomplish certain things by a certain age. Anything is possible whenever you decide that this is when I need to get started on something. I think it's very limiting to say that to young people. And so that's one thing I'd get out of my psyche.
I love it. Yeah, there's always time, right? I mean, there's not always time, but there's always time to make things happen and get your second act, whether you're a wisdom warrior or go and pursue that next degree, even if you're in your 30s, 40s, whatever that may look like. And Nikki, did you have anything else for that one?
I think for me, it's just like, be brave. And I know it sounds really simple, but it's like that. And like that you have the ability to write your own story. And no matter like what challenges you have, and it's something that might be answered with a no today, doesn't mean it's going to be a yes, or doesn't mean it's not going to be a yes tomorrow. So you have the ability to turn it around. And I think it's the same thing that Krutika just said. Like, I think it's, just believing in yourself essentially, and not just, giving into like status quo.
Awesome. Great. Okay. And we have one last question, because we know you all have a busy day and we know our audience has a busy day ahead too. So the last question, because International Women's Day is about inspiring inclusion, what hashtag would you have to inspire inclusion? Getting your creative hats on here.
I'm not sure if this is original, but I like the sound of break the wheel.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Me too.
Yeah.
That needs to be added to our list for today's show.
If it helps, I was inspired by Game of Thrones and Daenerys, so let's not have the ending she had. We'll stop a few steps before. Let's not burn down cities.
Oh, you know what? I didn't ask what one of our favorite one of our favorite shows to binge was, but Krutika, could it have been Game of Thrones? All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for sharing your insights. As I said at the top, each one of you could have your own talent show. So the fact that you all came together to help lift each other up, raise each other up, and everyone listening, we appreciate you being here. We've got a couple hot jobs to share, but thank you all so much for joining us today, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. All right. If you like what you heard, we have got a lot of jobs over here at TTEC, and you can head to ttechjobs.com and look around. Encourage you to come check out our pages about us, about our awards, about the diversity efforts that we have here at TTEC, and also come and check out jobs that are in your neighborhood. Now I had to choose this job, everyone. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, so I had to give props to our Hayden Ferry site here in Tempe, looking for sales representatives. So if you are in the Phoenix area, come and work at a really amazing site in Tempe, supporting a very iconic client, and really just have an amazing time with a group of people who will help raise you up. I know our groups there are also very active in women in leadership as well. So it's a great opportunity for you. And if you happen to be tuning in from the Philippines, we are also, okay, I was a little biased again. This is a talent acquisition marketing team member role where we are looking for you to come in as a sourcing specialist. It is a hybrid role working with our Philippines talent attraction team. So if you are in the Philippines and you have a marketing and communications background, a passion for helping find people a great place to work like TTEC Philippines is, this could be a fabulous opportunity for you. These are just two of the one of hundreds of jobs that we have on TTEC Jobs. So please come check us out and see what's available where you live. I want to thank everyone for joining today. And I hope that you walk away inspired to make the world a little better than where you found it, that you can become 10% kinder in your day, find ways to lift each other up, to join the employee resource group in your at your employer, or become active as a volunteer and find ways to make an impact. So thanks to all of our panelists today for volunteering to join us today. And I'm glad they didn't have to sing, although it sounds like they have some jams that they would sing too as a part of our talent show. Also want to thank our very special producers behind the scenes, Dora and Smirti. Thank you so much for all that you do. And to each of you for joining us for today's show. If you want to help inspire inclusion, please tag a friend, share this post on your LinkedIn, and we'll be back again in 2 weeks. So thank you all for joining us. See you next time.